So a lot of people think Jaws inspired the fear of sharks, but there was actually an event that kicked off the fear much earlier in 1916.
She was lying on her board on her stomach, just waiting for a wave. A 4.3 meter would attack Bethany, biting off her left arm just below her shoulder.
Holy shit.
Suddenly, he was grabbed by his leg with such force that a huge chunk of flesh was ripped away.
This is a story about how a shark attack actually saved a man's life. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Coast Files, your podcast for ocean mysteries and true crime. I'm Chantel.
I'm Lindsay.
I'm Megan, and it's Shark Week, baby.
Welcome to Shark Week.
Shark song. Is there a
I'll
shark?
put
Is
some
there a
extra
song about
sound
sharks?
effects.
Yeah.
I mean, baby shark.
Okay.
Baby shark. You asked.
I
We
know.
just made all parents really mad if they're listening to this. in
I
the
walked
car.
right into that one.
I mean, that song's been on repeat in my head for years. So
And it still slaps, but I will find a
still does.
different shark song, and I'll say, Chantel, put that shark song right here.
Sharks don't tell.
Wow, what a great song. Okay.
okay. Did I dig up the Jaws theme song again for this episode?
That's a good shark. I mean, that's a classic one too. I don't know. Does someone want to explain like how we're gonna do this episode? Because last week, I'm so tired. Last year we went all shark heavy, and we're kind of rebranding a little bit.
Right. We thought it was like a lot of shark for almost a month, and
As sharktastic as it was.
yeah, of course.
Get the
but
fuck
maybe
outta here.
people are like, that's enough sharks. Move on to like murder and
Which,
stuff. So
Personally, I don't
which we
understand.
did have, but yes,
But
Did have, yes.
we did
yes.
have. So
listen, we're not upset. We're just a little bit confused. But we're trying to hear you.
Yes.
So we're gonna
This-
just do a shark episode.
yes, a group one, which is actually great because I'm about to head off to Nova Scotia, which is by the ocean. So more content coming,
Yep.
obviously.
Yep.
And this will just give us a chance to each share a shorter shark story.
It sounds like a tongue twister.
Yeah, it does.
Share a shorter shark story.
And hopefully we'll keep it to around 15 minutes each, ladies.
I think I did it. We'll see.
Okay.
I did not practice this at all. I finished my notes for when we were supposed to record, and then I
Yes.
didn't look at them again.
There you go.
I was
No
sick. I'm the
proofreading.
reason why. I mean,
Yeah.
it's about that time every
Yeah,
summer.
It's that
I
summertime.
know last
for
summer
Megan
you
to
were
get
so
sick.
sick. You were like sick back to
Mhm.
back.
I think it was actually COVID last time,
It
and this was
actually
just a
COVID
flu.
last time.
And it's
Okay.
earlier, so is that a good thing
Yeah.
or a bad thing? Anyway, I'm
Oh.
feeling
Earlier
goodish.
in the time that we're recording, right on par for when this is actually happening. Because
Sharks are
comes
just
out.
sharks are so sick that I just get sick, you know.
Obviously.
I'm just gonna shout myself
But
out. This comes out on my birthday.
Oh my
Every-
god!
Right? Oh my God.
Happy birthday, Chantel!
Happy birthday, Chantal.
We
I'm
planned
also
so many
wearing-
surprises.
Yeah, I'm also wearing a very sick ass shirt.
Right.
Shark shirt.
Can
Shark shirt.
you-
That's also
I can't
Can
believe
you
we
show me your shark shirt?
didn't immediately mention the most important thing about today.
I know.
And
my shark
can
shirt.
Can I see the back, please?
The
Is it,
shark
like,
shirt and their
it's-
birthday.
It's cute. Oh,
Very cute.
Oh,
It is so cute.
I just noticed that the sharks go over the color blocking.
Oh,
That
it
is cool.
does.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. And it has like, a hammerhead, which is perfect. It
Mhm.
has
Love
a
it.
whale shark. It has just a regular white shark. Great white. Not white.
I was like,
great white.
"Ooh, what
I'm
kind
going
is
to talk
that?"
about that actually
Oh.
on my segment. That's
Okay, well,
right.
I'm excited to get started. So
Yes. All
Lindsay,
right.
take it away.
Okay. So my story today, well, we talked about Jaws earlier. So a lot of people think Jaws inspired the fear of sharks, but there was actually an event that kicked off the fear much earlier in 1916. Megan knows exactly what I'm about to talk about.
I
This
have no
is the
idea.
story of the Jersey Shore shark attacks.
It
Yes.
was insane.
Yeah.
I think I kind of know this actually.
Yeah.
I'm probably like a TikTok came up at some point because
That
of
would
my
make sense.
algorithm.
Pretty
Yeah.
Famous event. So people might have heard of it, but
Also,
I didn't know the
Lindsay,
details.
I think
so-
my favorite murder may have covered
May have
it.
covered it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna give you kind of the like Spark Notes version, 15-minute version, but
Give us the Lindsay note
It's-
version.
exactly. So in the summer of 1916, residents of New Jersey were experiencing a really bad heat wave like I am right now. People were spending a lot of time at the beach looking to get some relief in that sweet water. So on July
Give me that
1st,
sweet water.
25-year-old Charles Vanson was having an evening swim in Beach Haven, which is a small coastal town in New Jersey, when
They have
suddenly he
beaches
was
there?
grabbed. I know, right?
At
It's like
Beach Haven?
that's all it is. It's just one big beach. Suddenly he was grabbed by his leg with such force that a huge chunk of flesh was ripped away. This caused so much bleeding that he died shortly afterwards from blood loss.
Oh my God.
People in the area actually speculated at the time that it could have been something like a sea turtle who loved to snap, because at the time, people weren't that scared of sharks. They assumed humans are not shark prey. We're much too big and gangly. Like, ew,
They're
why would
not
sharks
wrong.
want to eat us? Which is
Yeah,
true.
I
Sharks
mean,
that
do
is
not
true.
like, which is
not
usually why they take a bite.
intentionally,
And they're like,
yes.
gross. No thanks. Mom, I'm not
Yes.
eating this.
Yeah.
Okay,
this
bye.
is sour.
Exactly. And it
This
sounds like
tastes like
that's exactly
processed
what
food.
happened with Charles's attack. But unfortunately, the severity caused too much bleeding and he did not make
Oh.
it. It's very tragic.
Did he ever
Damn.
make it to shore at all?
I think they
or-
brought him to the like people brought him to shore, but he bled
Okay.
out shortly
Mm.
after.
Oh my God, that's just
Damn. So it must have
really
hit like a
sad.
femoral
Scary.
artery or something.
Yeah,
or
that's what I'm
or even
thinking
if
of.
it didn't, you lose a big chunk of your leg or your whole leg. Like
Right. Maybe it's the femur. Yeah, by the
Yeah.
femur, right?
Yeah,
That's the-
normally it's like when it's a leg, like, I mean, sure,
Yeah.
you do have a certain amount of time, but if it hits one of those major arteries,
Those big
like,
juicy
especially the femoral,
ones.
like the femoral one, like you have minutes.
if
you
I
know,
ever am
thing.
getting attacked and I somehow have a blade, I'm going for the inner thighs of my attacker. Just
Yeah.
warning you.
Yeah,
right.
I like that.
Don't even try it.
Not
Just
you guys.
warning you, future
Yeah.
attacker.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be ready.
I got a blade. It's hidden
I have to find a blade.
in an
Anyway.
anatomy book.
Hold on.
Just let me research.
Okay.
All right. Can you stand over here? All right. Yeah. Right there. Okay. That's perfect.
And a little wider.
Okay.
A little wider.
A little bit more. All right. Slice. Okay. So 6 days later, on July 6th, another young man, 27-year-old Charles Bruder. So obviously, if your name is Charles around this time, you are
Oh my God.
not doing well.
Stay out of the water,
Sharks
Charles.
had a
Exactly.
vendetta for a Charles, and they couldn't figure out who it was.
Yeah. They're like, which
It's
Charles?
one of these guys.
Which one? He was attacked at a resort town about 45 miles or 72 kilometers north called Spring Lake. So he was outside of the designated swimming area. Don't do it, people.
Because the
Stay
sharks
inside.
follow rules and they know.
Yeah,
not to-
Exactly. Well, you're further away from the
Swimming back and
lifeguards.
forth.
So, like,
no, of course. I've seen an asshole.
yeah. He was about 120 meters from shore when he was viciously attacked. Both legs were gone, severed.
Oh.
Yes. And he was also suffered from a bite from his abdomen area.
Oh
And
my God.
as you can imagine, he did not survive this attack.
Mhm.
Oh, that's just
Unfortunately.
such a
Like you need that area
just
to
Yeah.
survive.
Right. So this seemed like, they took at least a
Oh.
couple bites, right? So a
Mhm.
little, and probably not
Was it
even
one
normal.
shark or did they know?
They assumed it was the same shark for both of these
Oh,
attacks.
okay.
Hold on.
at this
They're
point.
like, oh, okay, there's one shark and he hates Charles's.
Well, they
and-
assume it's a man-eater shark, like a man-eating shark at this
Fair.
point.
Oh, the
They're like, it
times
must
were
be
so
one bad apple.
simple.
All the other sharks are good, which is
Mhm.
very true. A lot of the sharks are very good.
in
So,
general, well, sharks are all good. It's like, we get into
Right.
their home, like that thing that Chantel sent us where it was the movie Jaws, but from the shark's perspective.
Oh yeah. They're peeing in my house.
That's so good. I think I shared that, but it's so
Yeah, you
true.
did.
Like we
Yeah.
go into their home
right.
and then we're upset. And I understand, like, I mean, obviously it's terrible. These poor guys died such a horrific way, but I don't know. It's just
That's
one
why
of those
usually
things
it's
like,
like they say provoked versus unprovoked attacks, right? So if you're
Yeah.
how do you?
I
Okay,
get into
anyway.
some of those later, actually.
Okay,
so-
then I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So after this attack, more panic started to set in. People were starting to get scared to go far out in the water. The
Yeah.
mayor of this small town actually request to put a net in the swimming area to keep swimmers safe. So people were starting to freak out. The heat wave, though, was not about to let up. And about, I think this was July 12th. I forgot to put the date. 12-year-old.
It is, 'cause it's on the map.
Yes. Thank you. July 12th, 12-year-old Lester Stillwell decided to go swimming in Matawan Creek It was a little freshwater inlet, a
Yeah, wait.
popular swimming hole.
Creek.
Yes, I know. We're going to get to it. He went swimming with some friends, was enjoying his day when suddenly he was pulled underwater. When he resurfaced, he was screaming. Onlookers tried to see what was going on. Multiple men jumped in to try to save him, including a young man named Stanley Fisher. So while Stanley could not save Lester, he ended up being bit himself. And
Oh
he
my
also
God.
bled
Oh my God.
out. So both he and Lester did not make it. They both
Wow.
succumbed to their injuries. And Lester wasn't found till like days later. So
Stanley,
Damn.
so Stanley was the young man that tried to save him.
yes.
That is a brave guy, because
yeah.
like
Yeah.
to see someone being attacked, a child, and
Well,
just to
I don't even know if they saw the shark really at that point. He just knew that a young boy needed help. So
Yeah.
diving in,
Oh
trying
my
to
God.
find him. So if you want to look at my map, if you haven't already, those are the locations of where these attacks have happened.
Wow, that's quite a spread there.
Yeah.
Of it.
You know what, for us, but maybe for a shark that's like just normal, like going up and down the coast
Yeah.
like that. Because
Well,
I mean, I
we'll
think
get
humans.
to that too.
Oh.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because humans, we tend to not go too far because it takes us so long. But maybe
Yeah.
sharks are like,
A
oh, that's
shark's
like a day
I'm
trip.
fast as fuck, boy.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is within like almost 2 weeks. Like it's 12 days.
Yeah, that's
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can travel.
Maybe he's not that fast.
No, he's like slow. On hindsight.
Maybe we're giving him way too much credit.
Right. So people were very outraged at this point. They were readying dynamite to like blow up the water because
Oh my
like
God.
what attacked this boy and this man. Before this could happen though, another person, a 14-year-old boy, Joseph
Oh my
Dunn, would
God.
be bitten as well in his leg. Now, luckily, Joseph did survive. He was the sole
Ooh.
survivor of these attacks, but he would spend 60 days in the hospital. So it was pretty bad, like bite. He
I assume he lost
Injured.
his leg, maybe.
it didn't even I didn't even hear if he lost his leg, so he might have kept it. But
Okay, well, that's good. I mean, even if he had to lose his
Yeah.
leg, like it's not worth your
Or
life.
like
So
part of the
Right.
muscle. Or something.
Yeah.
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 it's just a bad attack. So, but he
Mhm.
he
Oh,
lived.
just so scary.
So men were lining up around the creek with shotguns, wire nets, trying to catch this shark. At this point, I guess they kind of figured it probably was a shark at this point. On July 14th, the day of the funeral for Lester and Stanley, a taxidermist named Michael Schlesser caught a 7.5-foot white shark, and they ended up cutting its stomach open and found about 15 pounds of human flesh inside his stomach. So you go to my next photo. Yes.
So gross.
Wow.
There's the
I
shark.
expected him to be bigger.
Okay, same. Like,
That's
I
what
mean,
seven and a
Unless
half
he's
feet,
like standing
though,
far
right?
away.
If you think of like
Oh,
tip to
7.5?
tip.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
But
so
just like his body.
Let's
I
say he's
expected
like a
his body to be
6-foot
bigger.
man. Yeah. Yeah.
so
That's fair.
obviously, if I'm in the water, I don't want to see anything that size coming towards me. But
Of
when
course.
the shark is displayed as he is, I'm
Mhm.
just like, how did you attack that many people? Like, it doesn't. It
Mhm.
seems like would it
Well,
be full? Sorry.
I'll get to it.
Tell us,
So,
Lindsay.
wouldn't he be full?
I know.
Like,
No
what's
wonder
your
you're only taking
motivation?
We're
one
not
bite.
even bloated. Like, you have 4 people. I mean, he
How do you
didn't-
do that?
remember,
You're
the
taking
shark
a
didn't eat
probiotic?
all of the people. He just ate chunks.
Yeah. Yeah.
A little
So-
amuse-bouche.
Exactly. So after
So
the
insensitive, I'm so
capture,
sorry.
there were no more shark attacks were reported. So they deemed the shark
Okay.
to be the culprit.
Got you.
But many agree that the shark that actually went up to the creek was probably a bull shark.
I
And
was
this
gonna
is
say
a
bull
white
sharks are
shark.
the ones that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they think
so
that was
smart.
actually at least 2 sharks that were involved, the bull shark and the white shark.
Mhm.
One could say a copycat killer, as happens with lots of
Yes.
serial killers.
Yes. I've heard there's even other type of sharks caught in the area too, but it was probably like those 2, especially with the bull shark
Mhm.
being the only one that can go up into fresh water. So which
Yeah.
is terrifying.
Yes, sorry, that's why. I thought that bull sharks were aggressive, but the freshwater element.
Well, it's the aggressiveness.
Got
They're
me
like
stumped.
the third most, and then also
Yes.
that they can go into both.
Yeah.
Because
I
they
don't
go into
know
Survey
that.
freshwater
says.
to breed.
and
if I
to
remember
eat
correctly.
Okay, yeah.
innocent
Yeah.
children.
And
Yeah,
it's probably like
obviously.
it's like murky waters. I think they like too.
They
so it's
love
like,
murky.
Yeah.
The
Don't
real
love that.
the real
Ugh, I just
weirdos,
got
these
chills.
guys.
I know. I'm like, don't even announce yourself. Just come up and take a
Yeah.
bite. Like
Number 1,
rude.
Yeah,
Like, thank you.
knock on the door, take off your shoes, then come in. Like, what the hell?
So these events would eventually inspire Peter Benchley, who wrote the novel Jaws. He wrote on
Haven't
Nearby
seen it.
Long Island, New York.
Never heard of it.
In 1974, which would be famously dramatized a year later by Steven Spielberg
Ugh,
in a movie we've
Mm.
never seen.
no.
Of course.
Never.
Yeah.
That
Is
one.
it Yaws? Yaws? Is it soft? Soft
I was
J?
always
Yaws.
pronouncing
I thought it was
Jaws.
called Crunch Crunch Yum Yum. I don't know, but is
Lindsay, you're too precious for this world. Oh my god.
sorry.
I didn't think you were gonna say something so cute. Oh my god, you're such a cute mom. Crunch crunch yum yum.
I mean, I have kids.
I know.
Always talking.
That's what you're
lightly.
gonna call it to your kids now. Oh, mommy and daddy are just watching Crunch Crunch Yum Yum.
Yes, you can't watch it though. It's too much.
Not for kids.
Oh, as I just got my child into the Titanic, so he's like,
Yes.
people died. I'm like, yes.
Grayson, trust
Just
me.
like when the earth
Did people get
explodes,
stuck
okay, Grace?
inside the Titanic? Yes.
Yes.
They couldn't escape? No.
No.
How many people
Oh.
died?
a lot.
A lot.
Wow.
Trust me, when I found out, my dad, he educated me. It was
Yeah, because you
Life-changing.
were
Yeah.
Non-reactive.
an insensitive little child.
I know.
You were a killer in the making until
Yeah.
your dad got to you.
Yeah,
Something-
something
you
too.
You know what I think saved me probably was writing that Scream fan fiction. I got my thoughts out on paper. Then I'm like, actually, I'm more well adjusted now just by writing.
Oh, there you go. That-
All
And
my
now
friends get
you
murdered.
cry
Anyway.
at almost anything.
No.
So
I do cry at everything.
yes,
You know?
I do.
that's fair.
Mhm.
So New Jersey, I read somewhere that it's had about 50 shark attacks since 1884, 25 provoked, 25 unprovoked, but only 4 since 1964, with the most recent being in 2023. A 15-year-old girl was surfing and she was bitten, but thankfully the shark released her and she
Damn.
recovered. So
Mm, okay.
Those are some
Am I-
interesting stats.
yeah. And my last fact, because I don't know about you guys, but I kept seeing great white sharks being called white sharks. And I was like, what's up with that? Are they getting demoted? Like, what's going on?
They're great.
And the reason they don't always say great white shark now is because that implies there's a bigger version, but there's only one like white shark. So technically there can't be a great one if you're just one species. So that's why
Oh.
they've taken off the great sometimes.
I had assumed that the
Okay.
great was like of the sharks, it's the greatest. So it's like, it's the great white
I'll be
shark.
calling it a great white shark. I'm not
Yes.
Forever.
That's what I
And
grew up
Pluto
with.
is a planet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So
They,
anyway,
they're
that's
the
why
same
you'll
thing.
see it sometimes. It's just a white shark. So
Okay.
I actually
Okay, I
hadn't
didn't know that.
noticed
but you
that
put,
in my
put some
research.
respect on that shark if you ever see
Maybe-
it.
Right.
And call it the great white shark.
Maybe my
So,
brain just does that thing where it, you
Fills in the
automatically
gaps.
put a yeah. So
Mhm.
maybe
Yeah.
every time if I've ever seen it, I've just automatically said great
Great.
white shark.
Great
Yeah.
white shark.
Yeah. GWS baby.
Gunshot wound? Oh wait,
Oh,
gun
that
wound
wound
shot?
shot?
I tried, okay. Based on the first half of your story, Lindsay, that is plot point for plot point Jaws. So you can
Yeah.
exactly.
so I mean you maybe you mentioned it. I imagine that Jaws was directly inspired by this. It has to be.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's just
like,
it's like ba.
It inspired the writer, Peter Benchley, who wrote the novel, and then obviously Steven Spielberg, who
There's so
Mhm.
many awesome movies that I had no idea were books. I mean, I'm of the age, I was way too young when Amityville Horror came out. I was not born, I believe. I forget when the book
No,
came out.
yeah, I think it was
Like
like the 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I had no idea that it was a book. And then
Mhm.
obviously then you get into
Yeah.
all the shit on the book and is it real? Is it not real? It's
Yeah.
just I had no idea this was a
Mhm.
novel until I don't know,
Now.
scary recently.
Oh,
So, just to so this is actually a fact that because I'm going to go into facts, a little bit of facts later.
What? You
What?
never give us
I
science
know, right?
facts.
I never do
Ever.
facts. But something that I was reading was about how shark attacks may be increasing during some periods is related to global warming. So
Mm.
it doesn't surprise me that this was probably happening during a heat wave because
Mm-hmm.
the sharks have to expend more energy because they're warmer, because they're cold-blooded, obviously. So then they get more hungry. So that's why there might be more shark attacks and why there is more shark attacks during certain seasons, even if you live in a place where swimming might be all the
Mm.
time. Is why they have
Ah.
seasons is because it's warmer and then global warming is making everything warmer. So then there's bigger shark seasons and yada, yada, yada. So it really, the fact that there was this heat wave and then these sharks going crazy, doesn't surprise me at all.
Oh, yeah,
Science
that
is
makes
so
sense.
interesting. Like when you say it like that, I'm like, oh, that totally checks out.
Well, like I
Yeah.
notice it with my little creature. Like she is constantly hungry in the summertime. It's like I can't keep her with enough food, but in the wintertime she'll
Satisfied.
like sleep throughout the whole night because she's nice and cool. But in the
She's
wintertime, in the summertime,
hibernating.
she's like, I'm hot and I'm hungry. I'm like, okay.
I feel like when I'm really hot, I don't want to eat as much, but I'm not a shark, so
Yeah, I
fair.
find it gross to eat when I'm hot, and
Yeah,
I
but
just
that's
want
because we're sweating. We're not
Right. I just want cold
We're not
drinks,
like
like a
that.
we go
margarita,
back to
maybe.
margaritas.
Yeah.
We probably have covered this, maybe we haven't, but it's like remember we talked about like correlation and causation.
Mm-hmm.
So when the
All the
weather
time.
is hot and temperatures are warm, there's increased like agitation and violence. There's normally more murders and more
But it's
violent
ice cream.
crimes. And also ice cream sales.
Yeah.
So
Okay, yes.
ice cream and violence follows the same
So
path.
ice
So
cream causes murders.
Mhm.
Yes.
You've heard it here
Obviously.
first.
Yes.
That's the truth.
Science.
Okay.
Okay.
So this
Back.
yes, okay. So this is a story that you probably know of. I think I may have mentioned this to Lindsay because we want to make sure we didn't cross cover the same thing.
Okay.
So you probably know about it.
So I'm the only one in the dark. I'm
No,
not part of the friend group anymore. I get it.
Yes.
we have another chat.
That's exactly it. 100%.
Listen, we know how this goes.
What do you mean? We've never had a problem with someone in a separate group chat. I don't,
Ever.
I
even
don't
though
know.
the group chat was wine and crime based.
I'm glad you said that, Omega, because I literally had crossed my mind to do this case.
Yeah, because it's a very
It's
just-
interesting and
She came to mind, and then obviously Megan knew about Mike. We just knew about our shark attack cases.
and Lindsay even mentioned a part in her story just now, and I was like,
Okay.
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 So
Yeah.
let me just get into this, and you may even recognize the name. I'm going to talk about Bethany, Melania, Chantal, pick your best one. Melania
Okay.
Hamilton. You have lots of options.
Yes.
She was born on February 8th, 1990 in Loihue, Hawaii, or Hawaii, however you're supposed to pronounce it correctly. But
I
she
also
grew up
don't know that
in
one.
Kauai. I just think this is crazy. So she's like our age. So just
Mhm.
when I'm telling the story, just imagine you in this position at this age, because it's actually
I'm imagining
insane.
myself living
Freshly
in
25 years
Hawaii.
old.
God, you wish.
Um,
No, I
that
mean
sounds nice. Up to this point.
also being in Hawaii. Yeah.
I
Okay.
tried to do that.
So, well, yeah, because weren't you a snowboarder? Are a snowboarder? Half snowboarder?
Yeah, but I mean, I was looking at nursing jobs that were in Hawaii that were like, come and you can work
Oh, you were
here and
gonna
we'll
leave
pay
us
for you.
for
and
Hawaii.
Yeah,
To
I'm
be
gonna
fair,
leave you, Miss. I
hold
live
on.
in Chicago.
I'd rather that
I'm just around
than
the
Yukon.
corner.
I would be closer to you.
But you're
Uh,
close.
In like in
like,
trying
no
to get
way.
there. In like the I don't have to go to the airport 2 hours early.
I like
way.
hour and a half flight to see you versus. I mean,
But
if you live in Hawaii,
constant
then I get to go to
beach.
Hawaii. So
Yeah, exactly.
you do
exactly.
you, and I'll be there.
Okay. Okay.
Just-
sounds good.
You being a nurse in Hawaii makes way more sense than the Yukon.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's
you
fair.
you like warmth.
I wouldn't have lasted, guys. I would not have lasted.
No,
The first
you would have
winter would've
made your
come and I would've been
money,
like,
and
the
you would have
first
been
winter-
gone.
yeah.
No, you would have arrived in the spring and it's still like snow. You're
Yeah.
like, what have I done?
Yeah.
I've made a huge mistake. Okay, let me get back to
Okay.
Bethany.
Yeah.
So Bethany began surfing at the age of 3 years
Wow.
old.
I'll tell
Wow.
my daughter to get on it. I'm like,
I
you're
was
already
gonna say,
3. You haven't surfed.
She's way behind.
You're behind.
She was entering competitions at age 8. So your son's also.
Almost
like,
there.
he ain't
Like,
stepping up.
where's your first surfing competition?
And she had professional sponsors by the age of 10.
Wow.
So safe to say she was incredibly talented and gifted when it came to surfing. I mean,
yeah,
some people
Yeah.
are born with this natural talent.
Maybe she's born with
Um,
it.
not me.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
This is all makeup.
No,
is
you
in fact
actually are
Maybelline.
born with it.
Oh my God, wait.
But
this
that
actually,
lipstick is amazing.
No, no, this is CoverGirl. CoverGirl.
Oh, this
Yeah.
is Maybelline though.
There you go.
Is it actually?
Yes.
It's the stay on. I actually
Maybe
asked
it's
Chantal
L'Oreal.
earlier.
Maybe it's
because-
L'Oreal. L'Oreal.
L'Oreal.
Never mind. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know who I
Are
am.
you okay?
It's
No.
nice though.
My drink's hitting me. Thanks.
Okay. I didn't have any weed cola, so I'm
Thank
normal right
God.
now. Bethany, it was clear like Bethany was going to be a talented surfer. And so like most, young people, when they kind of get into Their life's dream young age, their parents did decide to get her homeschooled versus going to a standard school so that she could
Mhm.
focus on surfing. And, she did graduate high school. Like, she went all the way through. I think it was from grade 6 till graduation. She was homeschooled. Currently, she is 5'11", and I
Oh,
think that's
Oh,
awesome.
wow.
that's tall.
Like,
Yeah.
That's tall.
That's like
and
2
her-
inches
That's an
taller
inch
than
taller
you.
than me.
Oh,
No,
okay. Are you
an
5'10"?
inch.
Are you 5'10"? Oh,
An inch and a quarter. There we go.
okay.
Okay, we all can't be Glamazon, okay? This is also cute. I was trying to think of the word, like, 'cause Amazon.
Glamazonian, because you're like an Amazonian.
I'm a Glamazon, just wearing
Mm.
makeup today.
Yes. Okay.
Bethany's surfing stance is categorized as goofy.
Oh,
and
that's
I
how
think
I
that's-
snowboarded the
I
couple
think that-
times
Yeah,
I
same.
tried.
So what does that mean?
You right foot forward. Because most people go
Oh.
left foot forward, which to me, you think like that's lefty.
I
that'd
don't
be-
know.
But apparently, left-handed people like goofy, and that's how I have to go. Because I don't know.
Now I need to get on
Yeah.
a surfboard and figure this out.
What they do
Also
is they
felt
test
way more
you.
comfortable right for yeah.
They push
ahead.
you and see what foot is first. Is it the right or left foot? If you put your left
think
foot
my right foot.
forward, well, they
You would
to
think.
push you. Like, push me and see where you land
Push me!
from behind. And yeah,
This is like the opposite of a trust fall.
I'm glad we're both.
But
goofy,
eventually
Chantal,
it's good. Yes, we are both goofy, but eventually in snowboarding, and I don't know for surfing because I've never no, probably not for surfing because that wouldn't make sense. You learn switch where you go back and forth.
yeah, I could never switch. That's how I just gave up on
Yeah.
snowboarding.
I
That's
started learning switch and then I moved from Banff and then I was like, I'm done. Like
I'm never gonna snowboard again.
I went left foot forward first once and I fell and it hurt and I was like, never again.
That's fair. I
hurt
broke
once and
my
you're like, I'm
arm
done.
snowboarding, so I get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of arms,
Oh.
Okay.
on Halloween 2003, when Bethany was 13, so we were all about that age,
Oh my
maybe
God.
a
We
little
would have
bit
been
older.
together probably. Oh, starting to know each other.
No.
13, no,
15.
15.
That's at 2003 though. How old were we?
Oh, yeah, no. 2000
wait,
around the time we
sorry.
started to know each
Younger than
other.
us, Yeah.
Sorry, I was so focused on the
She's
13.
2
No, you're
years
right.
younger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow, Halloween. Yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
did know you guys. Well, definitely
Yeah.
Chantal.
We
'Cause
were
I was
starting-
like, I have no
We were
friends.
starting to become friends.
Yeah.
Okay, well, while we
Okay.
were doing that and having
Thanks,
a great
Fahad.
time,
Yeah.
Bethany was out for a morning surf with her best friend Alana, and the
Mhm.
girls were just sitting on their boards out in the water chatting, which I think we've seen in every surfing movie, and just looks so
Yeah,
calm and
that's
serene.
Just sitting there.
Where I would want to be.
Yeah.
And like, you're away from everybody. She was lying on her board on her stomach, just waiting for a wave. And then at that time, a 4.3 meter or a 14-foot shark,
Oh
so
my
twice
God.
as long as Lindsay's shark, would attack Bethany, biting off her left arm just below her shoulder.
Holy shit.
She's
like it jumped
13
out
years
and
old.
grabbed her?
14 foot?
So I'm getting chills just talking about it because it's just such a horrific
But
thing
she
to
was
imagine.
out of the water
Wow.
and it grabbed
She
her
was lying
arm?
on her board,
Oh,
on her
with
stomach,
arms in the
arms.
water.
We've all done this, just
Yeah.
moving your arm through the water,
Right,
and a
yeah.
shark bit her entire arm off, her
Oh
entire
my
left arm off.
Jesus.
Now, this is by, like, honestly, the grace of
Mhm.
God. So I said that she's
Yeah.
with her friend Alana, who is probably
Mhm.
sitting next. Alana? Alana?
Who
I'm going to
knows?
say Alana.
Yeah.
That seems more like a Hawaii fit. So Alana's family was also on the beach, and they saw the attack. They were able to help Bethany get from the water to the shore, and they fashioned a tourniquet for her arm to help slow the bleeding, which, as we just talked
Mhm.
about, I mean, maybe not as bad as the arm because of those big, juicy
Yeah.
veins, but
Oh my
not
God.
I mean,
good.
if it's as a leg, yeah.
Yeah.
So
at the
at this
shoulder,
point-
it's got to be a lot.
Like, almost her entire arm.
Yeah.
Bethany was rushed to the nearest hospital, and by the time she got there, she had lost 60% of her blood.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
And she was going into shock, obviously, because her
Yeah.
blood volume was
That makes
at
sense. It's like
40.
Yeah.
it seemed like from the cases I just told, it's like blood loss is that
That's
what
what
happened.
kills
Like if you don't
you.
get to the hospital in
Yeah.
time, which it's hard sometimes, like that's what's gonna get you.
Depending on how far it is,
Yeah.
I know a lot of times when you're at beaches in Australia, it's like, if you get stung by certain things,
You're toast.
we don't know.
Like,
Yeah.
make your peace.
Yeah.
This is such a weird. I'm not sure how big Kauai is. I know that there's some larger cities in Hawaii, but in
Mhm.
general, it seems kind of like small town energy. So they go to the closest hospital. Bethany's father was at the exact same hospital about to have knee surgery. And so
Oh my
then the
God.
surgeon switched them. So her dad then moved out of surgery. She went into surgery.
He probably
wow.
gladly was
Yeah,
like,
it's like,
yes, take
yes.
my spot.
I'm assuming he was awake, but even if he wasn't awake, the surgeon was like, well, priority. But like the fact
Emergency?
that he's ready to get his knee surgery and his daughter
Yeah.
comes in.
Oh my
Oh my God, I
God.
would be just throwing up.
Yeah.
So they switched spots, and then the surgeon and his team attempt to save her life, and they did.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
I mean,
Okay.
I knew
Bethany-
she
Well,
obviously,
survived.
yes, I know
but
this. I do recognize
Still-
the story now. Yeah.
Okay.
It's still crazy. Yeah.
The doctors were able to stabilize the 13-year-old, and within 1 month, she was in a surfing competition.
What?
Wow.
1 month. So now
As
you can
a
go.
parent,
Oh my
that must have been
God.
so much to be like, okay. like,
So obviously you're never going to go in the water again.
Oh my
Yeah.
Go to my first photo, and that is Bethany right after her accident.
Oh my God.
Her attack.
And that's the board?
oh,
That
it's a
is
board?
the board.
Oh
The fact
my
that only her arm was
God.
spent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
That's
Wow.
crazy.
I put a few photos of her surfing, so you can look at those too as I talk.
And
I'm
she
gonna
went
tell
back
As
you-
in
well,
the
she's, oh, yeah, it is. There
water.
we
Yeah.
go.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna tell you a little bit
God.
about Bethany's life since that event that obviously changed her life forever. So for the last 20 years, Bethany has appeared on many TV shows such as The Amazing Race, The Biggest Loser, 2020, Good Morning America, Inside Edition, The Oprah Winfrey Show, The Ellen DeGeneres Show, The Today Show, The Tonight Show, 19 Kids and Counting, The Masked Singer, Are You Smarter Than a
She's
Fifth
the Masked
Grader,
Singer?
and Extreme Makeover Home Edition.
She's so
Oh
pretty,
my
by the way.
God.
Isn't she beautiful?
She is.
And she's 5'11". Again, I just find that awesome.
Yeah.
Bethany
Love our
also
tall
has
ladies.
2
Everybody should
movies.
know.
I mean, couldn't be me. There's also 2 movies about Bethany's life. Soul Surfer came out in 2011, and that is the dramatized version with I don't know if she's even in that one, but it's a story of her life. And then there's a documentary style one called Bethany Hamilton Unstoppable that came out in 2019. So it's kind of recent, but it's a Christian documentary.
Okay.
So that's a
Is she
huge
Christian?
part. That's a huge part of her life.
Okay.
And it will come back. It's like such a minor thing, but I read about it and I was like, oh, Bethany. So aside from continuing to surf professionally, Bethany's also a writer, motivational speaker, like duh, and a married mother of 4 kids.
Oh,
Wow. Damn.
That's impressive.
Sorry, I had to I'm so sick. The last photo is of her today, and I think you probably already saw the one. So she's
That's where I was at.
beautiful.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
Also, those are like
Oh,
Chantel
yeah.
color combos for sure.
I know. I love
Yeah.
it. Like, I love
Like, where'd you
everything
get
about
your
this photo.
clothes? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just onto a little bit of controversy that,
Ooh.
Me saying that she is very Christian, that's a huge part of her life. Maybe you saw this coming. In January of 2023, Bethany announced that she would boycott all World Surf League events following their decision to allow transgender women to compete in the female category.
You mean the category that makes up like 1% of all sports and shouldn't even matter?
And also that there are some biological females born that have higher testosterone, so whatever.
Right.
So if a person's testosterone level was below 5, I meant to look this up. 5, Chantel, you're a nurse. 5 nmol per liter. Whatever, it's the amount of testosterone in your blood. So it's a very small amount.
And per moles. No, I'm gonna have to look that up because I've had something to drink and now I can't remember.
Nmol.
It just says represents the number of moles.
That can't be right.
Number of moles.
So if a person's testosterone level was below 5 parts per liter for 12 months. Nanomoles. For 12 months
Okay.
prior, and they identified as female, they would be permitted to enter the women's event. Bethany further dug herself into a hole by saying, transgender athletes should have a separate division created for them. Transgender women have a biological advantage over cisgender women, stating,
Do they?
we are seeing
a board?
glimpses of male body dominance in women's sports like running, swimming, and others.
Are we? With the 1%?
Yeah.
It's just like it has nothing to do with you. And I think I get into her stats, but she's not like she's nothing to worry about. Like she's not gonna lose to anyway.
Yeah.
Hamilton has said that she believes many of the women currently on tour agree with her, but they're too afraid of being ostracized to speak out. Hamilton's stance has received some support, but was also criticized, which is like, what is that sentence?
Yeah.
Like, of course. I read
Yeah.
it, and the article was like, some agree, some don't. I'm like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like in life.
So aside from all that mess, she is a passionate and dedicated athlete who went through something incredibly
Mhm.
traumatic, and the fact that she didn't let losing an arm sway her from her
Mhm.
love of surfing, I think, is admirable. So I mean,
Yes,
Right.
it is. Listen, two things can be true at once.
Right.
love the art, the artist.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
They
I
can
know that
have
her.
I mean,
Well,
like,
I mean,
I know Harry
people
Potter
have
is huge. We have
multifaceted.
a new
Oh
Harry
my
Potter store in Chicago, and like a lot of
god,
people like. I mean, I used to love Harry Potter. I just grew out of it, to be honest. I just
I like it, but you talked about
um
Disney adults. There are also Harry Potter people who are like that's like their life, and I
right.
don't
I
know. It
I
just sucks because
still
everything else
liked
is
the
so great.
stories, but
Yeah.
I don't read them today, which is fine if you still do. Like
I don't
I
think
think
I think I read the first 3 and then I stopped.
I wasn't allowed to.
That makes sense for you. You were in a
Yeah.
cult.
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny though is that I was allowed to watch Lord of the Rings though. So like make it make sense.
That's
You know?
literally the
Okay,
same
so I see
stuff.
some exceptions being
We-
made.
Listen, it was something that was very I remember talking to my mom about this later on in life,
Mhm.
being like there were exceptions depending on, who liked it type thing.
Almost
Anyways,
like it's not even real, and like
oh my
religion is
God,
like
don't even
kind of a complicated
I
thing, and
follow a
like
lot
maybe
of
it's
things
just
on Reddit
people that make it up.
in that religion and it's
Yeah.
crazy. But back to
Yeah. So I was just gonna
back to
say
her.
that I know that it can be a very complicated issue, and there's a lot of nuance on both sides where people will feel it's not cut and dry. It's not black and white, and I understand. So she is a very inspirational person. She
Mhm.
went through a lot, and
Mhm.
not everyone who you think is a, amazing athlete and strong-willed person is going to
Mhm.
agree with everything
Yeah.
you think and vice versa. So, like that's not my jam, and there's also a lot
You
of
could
things that she
also
does.
have like there's like she's 5'11", for example. There's plenty of like maybe biological like men who were like maybe like our height. Like maybe
Shorter?
they're 5'5",
Have you ever seen a
5'6".
jockey?
So
All
like
those men are tiny.
like I understand the wanting the fairness aspect, but I think there's such a like it's hard to
Nuanced. Like
exactly
it
like
almost has nothing to do with the fact that it's a
I
transgender athlete. It's like you're just I mean, like I
yeah.
didn't get into it because I didn't want to make it all about her religion because like that's none of my
Mhm.
business, honestly. But she does like marriage workshops, and all the books that she writes are about, how to help Christian girls, yada yada. And I don't know. I don't think that religions are bad. They're just not for me. But when someone just
Mhm.
kind of goes all in and making that everything that they do is about that, that's just that's so not my life that I have a hard time like
Yeah.
understanding.
Mhm.
So when
As somebody who
she
grew up that was their
yeah.
life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
So
it
just
is hard
so
to
when
you understand I understand it from like the aspect of growing up with it and being so engrossed in it and then also the aspect of being like I left it because there's a lot of things that I don't agree with.
yeah,
So,
Mhm. I went
just
to a
for
church that was very liberal. Like it
I
was
remember you
very
said
much
that. Yeah.
welcoming if you're like
well,
LGBTQ
get them to get
plus or
onto this
like,
surf topic because we need
uh,
people that are open-minded.
y-
Mhm.
yeah. That's why I always was of the stance. I'm like, well, if God made someone some way, like, why would God hate them for it? That was
Yes.
what the
So
messaging that I got from
Which
my church. So I'm
which
lucky that way.
I kind of liked about growing up as a Jehovah's Witness. It was something that was like it's like a I I liked it because they're like we're accepting of who you are, but
Mhm.
there was the little asterisk that said you're not allowed to act on it. So it's like you can understand that you are gay because God
but
made
it's
you this
wrong.
way,
So
but
try
you're
to
not
stop.
allowed to be with a
Who you
same-sex
are.
individual. Yeah,
Wow,
which was
that's
like one of those
tricky.
things like, okay, so you're trying to be accepting, but you're not at the same time.
Yeah.
It's almost like you have
It's
some
almost
kind of
worse because it's like you
illness that you can't
acknowledge.
control, but you're not allowed to have medication for it because we're going to ignore it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's really tough.
So, long story short, she went through something incredible and survived and has made a great life for herself. And
Mm-hmm.
her surfing stats are actually pretty decent. I think I had them somewhere in a spreadsheet. So she's had like 35 or 36 major competitions, and in about a third of them, she's ranked like top 10. So
Oh,
like
Oh,
wow.
she's
wow.
pretty
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
So she does some good stuff. She has some wacky thoughts about transgender athletes that I think are inappropriate, and don't even talk about it. It has nothing to do with you. Let them do what they want to do. And that's it. And that shark didn't
Damn.
didn't get her down.
I'm still surprised at like how small her injury is, considering like
That
the board and
board.
everything
Look
like
at the
that.
board. Even
Yeah.
when she's a child, like that
Oh
could
my
have been her
gosh.
entire
Entire
heart. Her
side, like her entire,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
wonder if she
So
happened to
That's
be leaning
crazy.
the other way a little bit more or something.
I mean,
I'm
there's
sure.
not.
Well, a lot of times when you lose your arm too, like it's not because that was where they're doing it above the injury, right? So
Yeah.
the fact she probably was, you're right. She's probably leaning in one way. Maybe she was like swimming with this side, and then the shark took this side. Maybe it was just above the elbow, but they had to go higher. Like there's a lot of things that they take into consideration
From
when
what
they're
I read, the shark
amputating.
actually got most of the arm, and where it is amputated is almost kind of near. Like I'm sure there's
Oh,
probably a little
wow.
bit.
Yeah.
But and I didn't read this anywhere, but I wonder if she had any indication that it was happening, and maybe like looked like got up to raise and maybe
Who
put more distance.
knows?
I don't know.
Hmm.
So
It
that's
is
Bethany
brave of her
Hamilton.
that
Amazing.
she continued to surf after that. Like she was just
So
like
amazing.
back
There
in
was
the water
actually,
within a month or something.
oh my God.
Like,
Well, not even in the water,
That's
like surfing competitively in a month. Like what the hell?
yeah, that's
There was
crazy.
a story that they're like, okay, Bethany, if you really want to do this, like we're gonna get you a special board, yada yada. And she tried it and she was like, this is too weird. So she went back to her old board.
wow.
Like
Man.
Cool.
that's just cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
not everyone's gonna have an opinion that you agree with, but all things said and done, pretty fucking incredible that she lived, number one, and not just surfed, but just
Mhm.
made
Didn't deter
hopefully
her from
other
her
lives better,
passion.
maybe inspired people.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
all in all, more good than bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But still, trans athletes should
Yeah.
compete with whatever they want to do. So anyway,
Yes. Okay. Well, I uploaded my photo now. So if you refresh on that last photo that you were
okay.
on, mine will be the next
Yes.
one. So I'll tell you when we're ready for it.
Somehow I closed it
And
like a absolute
I
idiot.
just, it's okay.
Mm.
There we go.
Mhm.
So you guys know that I love sharks. So since I knew
What?
that you guys were going to make us a little bit afraid of sharks, I wanted to show us many ways that sharks have saved us or are continuing to save us on a daily basis. That's the
So
word I was
close.
looking for.
Okay.
I
So
still
close.
don't think that you're going to be able to do this. So
Okay, well, I want to touch on some very cool scientific breakthrough that they've been responsible for. So
Okay.
this all started with the US Navy trying to get rid of barnacles on their ships. So these little guys, when they're on there, they slow down vessels and they cost a fortune to remove as well. So not only that, but they also use what's called an anti-fouling paint on the bottom of ships that makes it so that they don't stick as well. But it's not very effective. It's extremely toxic to marine life. So when they're going and they're
don't do that in Navy.
scraping it off, they
Yeah.
actually put that into the environment and around them. So then this guy named Dr. Tony Brennan came onto the scene, and he was a researcher. Oh, my baby's coughing. He was a
Oh,
researcher
Megan
that was
and
hired by the
Samus.
Navy to find a better solution. And while diving near Pearl Harbor to observe barnacle attachment on ships, he noticed something very interesting. And that was that these reef sharks were all gliding around effortlessly through the water without a single barnacle stuck to them. And so this sparked an idea. And as I touched on last year, shark skin is covered in tiny, ridge, diamond-shaped patterns that prevent things from sticking to them. And that's also why you can like get cuts if you touch their skin and stuff like that.
Sharks are just so
So,
cool. I'll just say it
Yeah.
again. Like,
so inspired by this, Dr. Brennan and a place called Aurora Technologies developed what's called Sharklet. And this is a surface treatment that mimics its texture of shark skin. And the result was 85% reduction in barnacle buildup,
that's
which
cool.
was a
Wow.
huge win for the Navy. And it didn't stop there. The same technology was adapted by hospitals to prevent bacteria like MRSA from clinging to supposedly clean surfaces during surgeries. This means
Mhm.
fewer infections, safer surgeries, and reducing bacterial attachment by 90%.
That's almost as good as Lysol.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh my
So
God.
that's huge because MRSA is one of the
Yeah.
biggest infections that happen, especially post-surgical, and they're also antibacterial resistant. So you can't even take
Fuck.
anything to try and get rid of it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Second, sharks are a huge help with the carbon cycle. So, did you know that large fish like mackerel, sharks, and tuna are made up of about 10 to 15% carbon, and that this gets released into the atmosphere when they are caught and brought to shore?
So it's their fault. It's not
It's
Okay.
not
us.
it's not us. Yeah.
It's
not us at all.
cows
It's not
farting.
cows. Okay,
Cows
sorry, it's
farting and these
cows
guys.
Yeah.
and yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Because
that
they're
makes
just
sense.
wanting to be caught and then
Mhm.
release the carbon. So when these fish die naturally, they tend to fall, and it's called carbon fall, I think it was. And they fall really quickly and into the deep part of the ocean where their bodies release carbon safely down there, and it stays there for thousands to millions of years, and they get eaten by animals that are down there and everything as well, which eats up a lot of the carbon.
God, oceans are
And
so
they just
scary.
get used up by creatures and that need the carbon below. So they also reduce the amount of carbon going into the atmosphere by mowing down on dead whale carcasses as well.
Mhm.
So they help there. So they play a big and crucial role in maintaining a balanced ecosystem. They also prey will distribute themselves, avoiding to be eaten by sharks that enter their habitat. So this is good because if you think of like tiger sharks and green turtles, for example, when tiger sharks come into green turtles' territory, they tend to leave. And these guys, green turtles, tend to eat a lot of seagrass. And the seagrass is really good at carbon cycling because not only does it help to it helps with carbon cycling and sequestration. So it holds
I
on
was
to a
gonna say
lot
that.
of carbon.
Obviously.
Yes. So that's where they're helping as well. And third, sharks like to play sheriff in a lot of seas. And they help us in more ways than we can count. So because of overfishing, sharks in the Atlantic Ocean, for instance, let's say North Carolina, what happened there was that the scallop fishery collapsed due to a 99% decrease in their catch in 2007.
Oh my
Huh?
God.
And this was because of cow nose rays taking over the area, and they loved to feed on scallops.
Scallops are
So
great. Like
there
I
was
get it.
overfishing of
they're
sharks
delicious.
in that area, and the sharks would normally feed on the cow nose rays. And so then the cow nose rays started to raise in population and eating more scallops. So the fishery couldn't keep up with everything,
Wow.
and
They played
ended up
themselves.
collapsing. Yes.
Mm.
It also did even more because it was playing on the local marine ecosystem by impacting young fish, shrimp, crabs in the area, all of other things that either needed to eat scallops or were being eaten by the cow nose rays. Florida is a really good example of what could happen if we were to continue to overfish sharks in Florida's southern coast. So the southern coast needs sharks. And this is because the coral reefs there would literally collapse and the coral would die if sharks were to be no longer present. So the
Oh my
sharks here
God.
prey on larger fish, and those are the larger fish that typically prey on the little guys. Those little guys feed the coral in exchange for a safe place to live. Why should we care about this? Coral actually absorbs wave impacts and decrease their energy by 97% before they
That's-
reach the coasts.
Holy
Wow.
So
shit.
think about Florida
Yeah.
in a very high hurricane area, a high tropical storm area. They need these coral. So this helps to protect the coral coastlines from eroding, as well as keeping the wetlands from flooding easier from too much water.
Is that where all the
And-
gators are?
Some of them are there, yeah. And the shark coral symbiotic relationship actually contributes to around 6.3 billion to Florida's economy because of the wetlands, ports, and harbors it helps to protect. So hospitalities, fisheries, boat rentals, dive tours, all of
Scuba,
this
scuba
that
stuff.
happens exactly. All of this that happens around there.
Okay.
3.6 billion.
Damn.
Wow.
So now the creme de la creme. This
I'm
is a
waiting for
story
this.
about how a shark attack actually saved a man's life.
Okay.
Okay. You found it. You found what
I
you were
did.
looking for.
I did. I told you.
You said you're gonna do it. I didn't think you
roll
could
up
do
your
it.
sleeves.
I
Yeah.
did it. So in July of 2015, 39-year-old Eugene Finney was on a holiday with his family, his 2 children and his girlfriend in Huntington Beach, California. He went for a swim and felt something slam against his back. He stated, "I would say it's like being hit by a ton of bricks or like whiplash from a car, but it's not that. I've never been hit like this before." He didn't entirely understand what had just happened to him and did not realize that he was injured until his daughter asked him why he was bleeding. And that's when he saw a foot-long cut on his back. So you can go to the next photo there. It's a very long cut there.
Okay.
Whoa.
Looks to me kind of like probably he was slammed with like a tail or something, which like, yes, would have hurt a lot. But I mean, I feel like I've been hurt worse by Samus with
Right.
this.
It's
But
not like your whole arm gone.
I'm sorry.
for
It's a
example.
foot long, and you're like, my cat's done worse than that.
but like it is, it's like a very long scratch. It's not
Mhm.
crazy deep either for anybody that's
Mhm.
listening. You can go and look at our photos. But obviously this would hurt even if you were slammed just with a tail, like that would
Yeah.
hurt.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we talked about before, where we go into provoked versus unprovoked. So this probably was something that was unprovoked, that he just kind of got hit. Maybe he was just more so in the way than anything. It doesn't look to me like he was probably hit head on with a shark. That doesn't make
Mhm.
sense for this
No.
cut. Yeah.
Do his other scars have anything to do with it?
No,
Yeah,
because that
'cause
was
the
the
other one
day
looks
of
painful.
that this happened.
Okay, so
Yeah.
everyone disregard the scars to the left. They are not
Yeah.
involved. It's
They
just
are
a
not
fresh
this. It's this
scratch.
fresh cut.
And I
going
mean,
down
that
his
looks,
back.
it's not like a, like it looks painful. It's hard to
Mhm.
describe. It almost looks
Yeah.
like someone had a very
Right.
like shallow knife and literally just
Yeah. So like
dragged it.
a lot of the articles that I read made it sound worse than it actually looks.
We're not trying to downplay it.
I'm
We're
not
just trying to
downplaying
make
it
it
at all. Not at
like
all.
this is
It's-
what
But
it
when
looks like. It
we
looks like
heard about Bethany losing her whole
Yes.
arm,
Yeah.
this is very
and
looks minor
Lindsay
in
had like 4
comparison.
people or 5 people die in hers. So
Right. People's limbs were gone. Yeah, this is
Listen, we know that sharks are strong. We know that they are
Mhm.
big. So even to be like lightly hit by one is
Oh.
going to fucking
Mhm.
hurt. So like
And
no
also scary.
downplaying that. It's just
you-
like
oh, scary.
yeah.
Mhm.
So his son and girlfriend later mentioned to him that they had seen fins in the water and that they were when they were
and
on
they
the
didn't
shore.
say anything.
I guess so. Didn't warn anybody. But it wasn't until the
Dad's
next
fine.
day that Finney saw reports of a surfer who had been nudged by a great white shark in the same area, that he finally put 2 and 2 together that that was likely what he was hit by. So he seemed fine after the incident, but eventually he ended up at the emergency due to chest pains and difficulty breathing.
Oh wow.
And this is where a CAT scan revealed early stages of a cancerous tumor about the size of a walnut on his left kidney. Surgeons removed the mass and about 20% of his kidney.
Oh
Finney
shit.
had no other symptoms and states that by the time he would have been any signs of his cancer, it likely would have been too late and metastasizing.
Oh my god.
So Finney is now cancer free and states, "If I could find this shark and give it a hug, I would."
Oh my god.
Okay,
That's
and
cool.
was surprising.
And just a little reminder, over 100 million sharks are killed by fisheries alone each year. This is not a sustainable number, as there are more than a quarter of the shark species that are now considered threatened. There were only 7 confirmed deaths of humans by sharks last year in 2024. 3 were provoked, 4 were unprovoked, and only 47 unprovoked shark attacks in total, which is down 22 from 2023.
Okay.
More people die from cows
Cows.
than sharks.
Yes.
Just put that into
I'm sure we talked about it
perspective.
last year. I'm sure we'll talk about it next year as well. Yes.
Vending
that
machines
is-
kill more people than
Yes,
sharks.
they do.
Mhm.
So that is my be nice to sharks rant.
And sharks did. I mean, it's like one of those things where the shark was.
Ultimately,
The
it
shark was
saved
like,
his life.
Right.
to the hospital.
Yeah, yeah. It literally nudged him
cancer.
to the hospital.
Who cares
Yeah.
if it wasn't intended? It still happened.
Yeah.
Like what things have to line up in the universe for this to happen?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
holy moly.
Wow.
That would
Okay,
make me
so
believe in God. I won't lie.
well, okay, hold on. So is the orca god not the god? Do we have a new god now? Sharks are
okay.
gods?
Shark God?
Hmm.
Shark gods.
I'd pray to a shark god.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Wow. This was a really fun episode. It was like a bunch of little like shallow
Yeah.
dives.
Yeah.
I like this one.
And I like how we all kind of kept to our comfort zones.
I was wondering how you were going to find a shark that saved. So you
I
did
didn't
a
think
job.
it was gonna happen.
It was not easy, but I did it.
Because
did
it really
I told
doesn't
you
happen.
I would.
Dug deep into the internet archives, made it happen.
I thought it was gonna be as closely as when Amanda was like, I even forget what it was, but everyone who listens to Wine Crime knows tons. Like the
Oh,
wine
yes,
pairing had almost
had
no
nothing.
relation whatsoever, except that had the word tons in the name. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the inside jokes, you just remember the joke and not the context at all.
Not the reasoning behind it. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, this was good.
Anyways, that is our Shark Week.
Shark Week.
and
Go
it's a
watch-
nice.
oh, apparently Discovery Channel isn't doing any of their Shark Week episodes though until like
What?
the 22nd or something. They're doing it
That's
way
late.
after Shark Week. Yes, because I had to check 3 times because remember how last year we got
Yes,
Shark
I
Week
know.
completely wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had to check
Someone
like 3
messed
times
up.
because I was like, Discovery isn't bringing out their stuff until later, but Shark Week is definitely happening this
Because
week.
Shark Week was created by Discovery. You can't just change your own holiday.
Yeah, I don't know. It was
Oh,
something
yeah.
to do with
July
like when they were
20th,
bringing out
they're
their
saying.
episodes. I was getting
Shark
very
Fest.
confused. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's what we called our thing, so we
Yes.
stole it.
So they can just
So they saw
arbitrarily
us and they copycat.
make it whatever week they want. Got it.
Yes, even though Shark
Do you know
Week
what
is
originally
technically this week.
premiered in, guess what year? 1988.
Oh.
So like that was the first summer we were all
Megan.
alive.
Oh,
Yes.
it was.
Mm-hmm.
I
Because-
was very newly alive.
Yes, July 17th.
Oh.
So
Oh my
Chantal
God.
was just 17 days old.
I was
And Lindsay
No.
and
Oh,
I,
sorry,
we
sorry.
knew
No, you weren't.
12.
6
Days?
days old.
Yeah,
6
so
days
you were
ago?
just a
Math.
week, pretty much.
Okay, this is the podcast
think
about
because
murders,
my
crime, and
case-
oceans.
My case started on July 1st today that I had that still in my brain.
Oh, got you.
It's
Fair,
about
fair.
Canada's birthday, not yours. Sorry.
Canada's birthday.
Also an
I feel
important
like
birthday.
because our prime minister
Mhm.
is doing a pretty damn good PR job right now, Canada might be not lane this year.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
that's
going to
fair.
be there
Well,
for
and
Canada
Siri's
Day
trying
this
to
year,
talk
so
to
we'll-
me, but
I'll
I'm
let
not
you know. I'll be
talking
on
to
the
you.
ground. Well, will be too, but you know,
Oh yeah.
I'm not
You're
usually.
going to actually be in Nova Scotia, and I'm so jealous.
Yes, come to Nova Scotia.
But I'm happy
you?
for you. I'm just like, I wish I was there too.
Yes, I mean I love going to Nova Scotia, but I also I have to go every year, and I'm not saying that
Yeah, I
I
know.
begrudge that, but because my family's all there, so I.
As
I
you
wanna
know,
see
I'm in a
them.
very similar.
I would need to go stay with your
predicament.
family, Lindsay, or with your family, Megan.
Yes.
Like,
That's fine.
Yeah,
Well, because it's my mom there, and the bungalow is so special to us, but it's just so expensive that we just really can't swing it every year. And like having
Yeah.
kids you would have to make that a priority.
mm-hmm.
So my mom's gonna come here this time, as you guys know, and
my
I think
mom's
then
gonna come here too,
when
but not until September.
Okay.
they're gonna
Yeah.
miss each other, but still, but you should come out with me and my mom and Damien at some
course.
point. We'll figure it out. But when we're thinking for next year, we might go to Halifax and have mom say, "Hey, come up,"
Yeah,
but
Yeah. Fair.
because it's not that I don't want to go home. It depends. I guess it depends
It's
on a
just
lot
there's
of
not a
things.
lot to do once you're in
Yeah.
Cape Breton.
it
and-
does.
Yeah,
Make,
you're there
it
just
is
to
quite
relax.
a journey to get there after.
Well,
even
yeah,
if
it's like
you
a
fly
5.5, 6 hour drive. And Halifax is
Jesus.
just getting cooler and cooler. And I'm like, could I move back home? And then I see the weather and I'm like, oh. No.
I get it. Okay, well, so we don't ramble because we're good at that.
Yes.
Yeah, we're great.
We
Had a long
should
episode.
say
Okay.
goodbye.
Oh,
Bye.
and just you know,
Bye.
no, follow us on YouTube.
Right.
Coffee Money. I probably should
Yes.
promote that more.
Yeah.
And tell your friends about us because we want to grow and quit our jobs.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Make our dream come true. Thank you.
Okay. Love you
Okay,
guys.
Love you.
We love
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening today. We loved having you. If you liked the episode, share with your friends, family, or anyone who would enjoy it. Also, take a moment to review our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Leaving us a like or comment really helps. If you'd like to buy us a coffee, please visit our coffee page at www.ko-fi.com/coastfiles. Email us at coastfilespod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at coastfilespod, or visit our website at www.coastfiles.com. You can find the sources for today's episode on our website. See you next week with a new episode.